The story begins with Lila, a young woman working as an English teacher. She had endured years of domestic violence at the hands of her husband, and after reaching her breaking point she finally decided to divorce him. Even after leaving that life behind, Lila struggled with emotional scars and loneliness while searching for a new beginning. She moved to a new city and landed a teaching job at a local high school. On her first day, the principal introduced her to the history teacher, who was assigned to show her around the classrooms. Meanwhile, across the city we meet Jason, a 19-year-old living with his parents, younger sister and older brother. They came from a working-class background, struggling to make ends meet. Jason's older brother had turned to selling drugs to make money but was eventually caught and sent to prison. Jason's parents were determined to keep him from making the same mistakes, so they constantly urged him to focus on school and build a better future. But Jason had little interest in academics. School felt like a burden, and despite his parents' hopes, he kept slipping further. He'd already been expelled from several schools, and just like his brother, he had also started selling drugs for fast cash. His main goal wasn't selfish, though. He wanted to earn enough to support his younger sister's education and give her opportunities he never had. Back at the high school, Lila taught her students while Jason sat in the back row, trying not to draw attention. He spent most of his time outside of class getting into trouble with his friends, involving fights and drugs. One day while Lila was alone in her classroom, Andrew, the PE teacher, stopped by. He complimented her on her unique and engaging teaching style, flashing a warm smile. Lila smiled back, and their light-hearted conversation marked the beginning of a connection between them. Later that night, Lila called her mother looking for comfort. As they talked, emotions overwhelmed her. Being in a new city with no close friends, she felt crushing loneliness. The next day after class, Jason hesitantly approached Lila. He admitted he needed help with writing an assignment about himself but didn't know what to say. Lila reassured him that he could share anything and that whatever he told her would stay private. But Jason wasn't ready to open up and walked away without another word. Worried, Lila tried to follow him, but before she could catch up, the history teacher cut her off, coldly telling her that kids like Jason couldn't be helped. Lila refused to believe that. She firmly insisted no student was a lost cause and that every student deserved the same chance. The following day, while reviewing student records, she came across Jason's file and learned he was a transfer student with a long history of poor academic performance. This only deepened her concern. Determined to help, she resolved to give him extra guidance. Later in class, students presented poems they had written. When Jason's turn came, he stood up nervously and began reading. His poem was raw, emotional, and painfully honest. Lila listened carefully, moved by his words. After class, she approached him, praised his poem, and told him his writing was exceptional. She encouraged him to put the same effort into all of his studies, assuring him that he had real potential. Jason couldn't help but smile. No one had ever appreciated his work before. The next day, Andrew approached Lila again and invited her to join him at a pub that night. Wanting to relax, she agreed. That night, they drank and danced together. What she didn't know was that Jason was also at the pub with his friends. He noticed her smiling and enjoying herself on the dance floor. Watching her made him want to dance too, but he stayed in the shadows. After a while, Lila left and drove home. The next morning, she noticed Jason had skipped class and was loitering outside the school. She confronted him later, firmly telling him not to skip again. Then she made him an offer. She'd give him an extra 30-minute session after school every day to help him catch up. Surprisingly, Jason agreed. From then on, Lila started tutoring him after school. But instead of focusing on lessons, Jason often caught himself staring at her. Over time, his admiration turned into something deeper. He was falling for her, though Lila had no idea. That night, Lila sat alone in her apartment, lost in loneliness, longing for someone who truly understood her. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. To her surprise, Jason stood there with a bruised face and bloody nose, looking like he'd been in a fight. Concerned, she let him in. He told her he couldn't go home like that, he just needed to clean up and then he'd leave. As he was about to go, Lila noticed it was raining outside and offered him a ride. On the drive, she tried asking about his family, but he avoided the topic. After a while, Jason asked her to stop the car and led her to a scenic overlook where the city lights glittered in the distance. Out of nowhere, Jason said, "I saw you dancing at the pub. I want you to teach me how to dance." Lila laughed but agreed. They danced, and Jason used the moment to move closer, subtly touching her. Feeling uncomfortable, Lila quickly pulled away. "This is wrong," she said firmly. "I'm your teacher. We can't cross that line. This can never happen again." Jason nodded, though deep down he didn't want their time together to end. Lila drove him home. The next morning, Jason's mother received his test results and was stunned to see his grades had improved. Excited, she asked how it happened. Jason smiled and said, "It's all thanks to my teacher. She helped me." His mother promised to thank Lila at the next parent-teacher meeting. Meanwhile, Jason was scrolling through Lila's photos on social media. His attraction to her had become something much deeper. That night, Lila went back to the pub with Andrew. Jason was there too, keeping his eyes locked on her from his table. As they sat together, Andrew asked about Lila's past, specifically why she divorced her ex-husband. His questions made her uneasy, so she excused herself to go to the restroom. Jason followed. When she came out, he grabbed her wrist and kissed her. The kiss was brief but intense. Realizing what he'd done, Jason pulled back immediately. Shocked, Lila rushed back to Andrew, claiming she had to leave because her mother was unwell. She hurried out, but Jason followed. Andrew noticed Jason trailing her. That same night, Jason showed up at Lila's house. She refused to let him in at first, telling him to go away, but he begged, saying he just wanted to talk and apologize. Then he took the chance to confess his feelings for her. Lila lied, saying she didn't feel the same. Jason challenged her, "If you don't love me, then why did you kiss me back?" She insisted it was a mistake. Jason didn't believe her. Lila warned him that no one could ever find out about their relationship. Jason agreed but couldn't help noticing the irony. She kept saying it must never happen again, yet she didn't push him away completely. Hey everyone. If you're enjoying the videos and want to keep seeing more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. We're on an exciting journey to reach our first 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you can help make it happen. Your support means the world to me, and it's what keeps this channel going strong. So smash that subscribe button, join the family, and let's reach this milestone together. The next day, Jason went back to meeting his suppliers and continued dealing drugs. At school, Nancy, the history teacher, approached Lila and admitted she had feelings for Andrew. She asked Lila to stay away from him. Later, during an extra study session, Jason tried to kiss Lila again. She quickly stopped him, reminding him they couldn't act that way in public and that no one should ever know about them. Jason respected her words, but with a playful smile, he told her to close her eyes. When she did, he placed a delicate necklace around her neck as a gift. Touched, Lila smiled warmly. That night, Lila confided in her mother over the phone, admitting she had feelings for someone much younger. Her mother advised her to marry someone who would truly make her happy. The next day, Lila and Jason snuck away for a secret outing to a quiet lake. They laughed, enjoyed each other's company, and Jason took photos of them together. Curious, Jason finally asked why she had moved to this city. Lila hesitated, but then opened up, revealing her abusive marriage and how it took years of suffering before she finally found the courage to divorce her husband and start fresh. Jason was deeply moved by her honesty and promised, "I'll never hurt you." Later, as Jason showered at home, his mother secretly checked his phone. To her shock, she found photos of him and Lila in poses that clearly went beyond a normal student-teacher relationship. The next day, during parent-teacher conferences, Lila approached Andrew to ask for a file. As he handed it to her, he smiled and said, "We're good friends, right?" That same night, Jason's mother showed up at the school to confront Lila. As they sat down, Lila tried to explain how much Jason had improved academically. But suddenly Jason's mother's tone turned furious. "I enrolled my son here so he could focus on school, not waste time in a relationship with teachers like you," she shouted. "Stay away from him." With that, she stormed out, leaving Lila stunned. The heated scene didn't go unnoticed. The principal, who saw Jason's mother leaving in anger, asked Lila what had happened. Trying not to raise suspicion, Lila brushed it off, saying the woman was just in a hurry. But Nancy, watching from the distance, started piecing things together and grew suspicious about Lila and Jason. That night, when Jason got home, his mother confronted him directly. "Tell me the truth. What's going on between you and that teacher?" Jason didn't hesitate. "I love her," he admitted. His mother's face hardened. "You're ending this right now," she demanded, insisting Lila was taking advantage of him. Jason pushed back, saying, "It's not like that, Mom. You don't understand." The argument grew heated, and in frustration, Jason ran out of the house. Meanwhile, Lila was on the phone with her own mother, finally confessing that the younger man she'd mentioned before was actually her student. Horrified, her mother begged her to end it immediately. At that moment, Jason showed up at Lila's door. Instead of welcoming him, she lashed out. "How did your mother find out about us? I told you not to tell anyone. Jason swore he hadn't. I just found out today too. I didn't tell anyone, I promise. Shocked and scared, Lila told him firmly, you have to leave. If the school finds out, I'll lose everything. A few hours later, Jason returned with a bouquet of flowers. Lila hesitated at first but eventually softened and forgave him. That night, they shared another intimate moment together. The next morning, as they sat side by side, Jason brought up what they were both avoiding. Sooner or later, everyone's going to find out, he said. Lila looked worried but agreed. We need to figure something out before this gets out of control. Jason suggested they leave town together, saying he had some savings. We could start over somewhere else. But Lila shook her head. Running away isn't the answer. At school the next day, Jason held Lila's hand while they talked. Andrew spotted them, and his face darkened as he realized Jason was the reason Lila had been distant with him. That night, as Lila stayed late at school finishing some work, Andrew cornered her and tried to force himself on her. Horrified and shaken, she rushed home, replaying the incident in her head. She never thought Andrew was capable of something like that. Later, Jason arrived at her house and immediately noticed her distress. What's wrong? He asked. Unable to hold it in, Lila told him everything. Jason clenched his fists in anger. You need to go to the police. But Lila shook her head. He threatened me. If I report him, he'll expose us. The next day at school, Jason couldn't hold back his rage. The moment he saw Andrew, he lunged at him, beating him repeatedly. The fight escalated quickly, drawing everyone's attention until the police arrived and restrained Jason, hauling him away in handcuffs. Later, Jason's mother came to the station and managed to get him released. As they walked out, she spotted Lila standing nearby. Furious, she turned to her and warned coldly, "Stay away from my son," before leaving with Jason. Back at school, Lila's heart ached as she thought about Jason and how everything had spiraled out of control. That night, she made a decision and confronted Andrew. Everything you did was caught on the school security cameras, she told him. Andrew went pale. If you don't drop the charges against Jason, I'll go straight to the police. Realizing he had no choice, Andrew reluctantly agreed. The next day, Jason came to Lila's house, relieved the charges had been dropped. But before he could speak, Lila looked at him with tearful eyes. I'm leaving this town, she said softly. Jason froze. Why? She took a deep breath. Because I finally understand our relationship is wrong. I can't do this anymore. Jason's face fell, devastated. No, please, he whispered. Tears filled Lila's eyes, but she stayed firm. You have to move on, Jason. You have your whole life ahead of you. Broken, Jason walked away and Lila watched him go, her heart heavy. That night, Jason returned home and collapsed into his mother's arms, crying. Meanwhile, Lila boarded a bus, watching the city disappear behind her. She was leaving everything behind, her past, her mistakes, and Jason. And with that, the story comes to an emotional end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of the exciting content coming your way. Every new video is made with you in mind, and I'd love to have you here for the journey. See you in the next one.